In theaters today is Dr. Seuss's Horton Hears the Who, starring the voice talents of Jim Carrey, Steve Carell, Carol Burnett, Will Arnett, Seth Rogen, and loads of others. The film was based off of the Dr. Seuss children's book of the same name. Jim Carrey voices the character of Horton, an elephant who hears a cry for help coming from a tiny little speck of dust. Horton decides to help these tiny people, called Whos, who live in their city of Whoville, which is located on the speck of dust. However, Horton gets tormented from his neighbors, who refuse to believe that a race of tiny people live on a speck of dust. Regardless, Horton pushes on, with the motto that a person is a person, no matter how small.
The creators of Ice Age bring you the world of Dr. Seuss as you've never seen it before.
Hello?
I don't exactly know how to tell you this, but you're living on a speck.
Seriously, who is this? Is this Bert from accounting?
Jim Carrey,
There are people on this speck.
Absurd!
They have a mayor who has 96 daughters and one son named Jojo, who all share a bathroom. Whatever that is.
Steve Carell,
Dr. LaRue, if our world were, say, a tiny speck, how would we know?
Well, we'd have inexplicable tremors, dramatic changes in the weather, and if we didn't achieve stability, our world is headed for disaster.
Oh, we're doomed.
on March 14th.
I want that Clover destroyed.
I will devour Clover. Then I regurgitate it. Then I'm gonna devour it second time. So 2 times devoured.
All right, fat boy, you want some of that?
Why?
Keep watching the sky.
I just know he's gonna jump out somewhere.
Hello. Kiss me.
This is where we get off.
Cool line. Usually I can't think of those things till later.
So, Jojo, what's the word?
Sweetheart, you need to go to bed. Daddy's having a breakdown.
20th Century Fox presents
Even though you can't hear or see them at all, a person's a person, no matter how small.
That's my code, my motto. Ooh, it's just a straight plummet to certain death.
Dr. Seuss's Horton Hears a Who.
Don't worry, citizens of Whoville. I'm light as a feather.
I really got into this film. I think the last animated movie I liked this much was Toy Story. I do usually like most animated films, but I still didn't go into this one with huge expectations. I had a bad feeling that they weren't going to get the full use of many of the talented voice actors they used in this film. Luckily, they managed to use all of the actors to their fullest. Some of the best performances, in my opinion, were definitely Jim Carrey as Horton and Steve Carell as the mayor of Whoville. Other great performances was Will Arnett as the evil vulture Vlad, and Seth Rogen as Horton's tiny little mouse friend, Morton. Carol Burnett also did a great job as the bossy kangaroo character that tried to thwart Horton's attempt to rescue the tiny town of Whoville. There were some pretty cool sequences in the film that I really enjoyed. There were a couple of 2D animated scenes that were really interesting to see. Even though the entire movie was in 3D and then out of a blue, a random 2D sequence would come up, they didn't feel really out of place. They were actually welcome because they added a great comedic element to the film. However, those weren't the only funny parts of the movie. I was surprised to find that I actually laughed throughout the entire film. The film's humor came from lots of things, from hilarious lines to some funny-looking characters, and even some awesome sight gags. I thought the animation was amazingly done. I loved the look of the film, and the colors were always bright and rich. There wasn't a frame of the film where I wasn't overwhelmed with how good the scene looked. I'd say that it was definitely be the best film based on a Dr. Seuss novel. From the first frame on through the last, the entire film kept me entertained. This film will not only be fun for the kids, but for the adults in the audience as well. Most of the jokes the kids will get, but the adults will enjoy them all the same. It's definitely a movie for everyone of all ages. I'd give Horton Hears a Who a solid 4.5 out of 5. Yep.